So let's talk about, again, I'm jumping around. We're going to kind of bring this all together here in a minute. Weight loss strategy. Number one, we kind of talked about. What's the best weight loss strategy?
Reduce calories.
Eat less. All right. So if you reduce your caloric intake, say you start out, you find out you're eating about 2,500 calories a day, and you think, you know what, I can reduce that by 500. That's 500 a day. 500 times 7 is 3,500. That's our magic number, right? So in a week's time, you would expect to lose a pound. If you're diligent and you stick with that. Okay? Second, what's the second best method of weight loss?
Adding physical activity.
Increase physical activity. So if we do that, and I like this example because I hear it all the time. I talk to people that are overweight, and they say, you know what, I'm going to start doing something. I'm going to start exercising. Now, for me, I'm going to start walking 3 times a week. And so they tell me, Derek, I'm walking 3 times a week. I'm burning roughly 200 calories each time. And I've been doing it for a month, and I've gained 2 pounds.
Muscle weighs more than
If you're building muscle,
if you're building muscle.
You tell me how intense a walk. Yeah, you're going to be building muscle.
If you start doing that and you haven't done anything, you're going to develop some muscle. I mean, that you didn't have.
But sometimes exercise increases your
appetite. That's right. When you think of 2 pounds of muscle, think of it this way. Have you ever seen a 6-pound steak? I mean, a 6-pound steak, a 6-ounce steak. You know how big that is?
A 6-ounce steak. No.
Yeah, a 6-pound steak.
6-ounce
So
steak.
with Big Texan.
Yeah.
You think about how much tissue that is. You know, you don't gain muscle like that in a couple of months or in a month. But here's what somebody takes off. They burn 200 calories 3 times a week. That's 600 calories a week, right? How many weeks is it going to take them to burn a pound? About 6.
Yeah.
No wonder they're not nothing. And then they start exercising. Their appetite goes up a little bit because they come home after doing that 200 calories and they're like, man, where are the chips?
Yeah, I'm starving.
I just burned up everything I had in my bloodstream.
It's okay to eat.
So this person gets very, gets demotivated and upset, and that just kind of illustrates. You burn calories can contribute to your weight loss, and it should. But if you're looking at that as your sole means of weight loss, then you're gonna fail.
Disappointed.
All right, so roughly 6 pounds to lose a pound. 6 weeks to lose a pound. So, but what we want to do, the third means of weight loss, is a combination of the two. So we want to reduce our caloric intake, but we also want to increase our caloric expenditure. So if we say, I'm going to eat 500 calories less every day, that should equate to a pound a week, right? Okay. And then instead of just getting 200 3 times a week, I'm going to go ahead and get 200 a day. I'm going to figure out a way to increase the amount of activity I'm doing on a daily basis. And Robin talked about incorporating more activity during your work day. What's the exchange here? That together. Now I know we're consuming less and we're burning more, but that together is 700 calories, right? So in a week's time, that's 4,900. So we're going to lose about 1.5 pounds a week doing that. So the exercise that we added in basically going to add about half a pound for us. And that's about 1.5 pounds a week, or about 8.5 pounds in 6 weeks. So that's why you take the 70, eating less, and the 30, exercising or getting more activity to maximize the benefit of weight loss. Now all this suggests that you know how to consume 500 calories less, right? How would you do that?
Skip that latte in the morning.
Absolutely, that's an easy one.
400 of it.
And I think that's probably an easier way to do it. Rather than trying to figure out how many calories I'm consuming, and now I've got to reduce it by 500, just pick out some items that you eat every day, and either, if they're unhealthy items, replace them with healthier items that have a lower calorie content. Or you can go and do your journal and kind of figure out what you're consuming a day, and then figure out a way to eat fewer calories.
Yeah.
So let's take a real life example then. Mindy, this little girl comes to you, your personal trainer over at Gold's, and this 38-year-old mother comes to you, and she says, I weigh 160 pounds, and I know by looking at my BMI score, I'm about 20 pounds overweight, because normal weight for me would be about 140. And I've got my 20-year reunion coming up in 8 weeks, in 2 months. And I want to be down at a normal weight for me. So I want to lose 20 pounds in 2 months. Is that realistic?
Yeah.
If she starts to get.
Okay.
Pound and a
Based
half
on what?
the combination.
I think you can get pretty close.
2 pounds a week for 8 weeks, it'd be 16 pounds.
Okay, tell me how you're going to do 2 pounds a week.
Well, you'd probably have to drop your calories by more than 500 calories
Yeah.
a day, by about 700, and then you'd have to do a little bit more exercise.
So for her, it's going to be critical that we know, well, how many calories is she consuming?
Yeah.
Because if she's on, when we know if she's 20 pounds overweight, we can guess that she's consuming more than she needs to be consuming.
Right.
Her basal metabolic rate for 140 pounds, what's that going to be?
1,400.
1,400 calories. So if she's 160, we know she's
She's eating
back in
200
the
extra
way.
calories.
Yeah.
That's
than
right.
She should.
Right.
And we don't know what kind of activity she's getting. My guess is she's getting not so
Not too much.
So you can figure it on your figure it on your BMR. You can take your basal, like we want her to weigh 140 pounds. We can say, okay, we're going to start at 1,400, and then we're going to build in enough calories to take care of her activity for the day, and that would help us. So if we did that, we said 1,400 calories, and let's build in 250 for activity during the day. We know she's going to exercise too, though, right? Because we're going to have to make her exercise. We want to lose 2 pounds a week. We're going to have to bump it up pretty good. Because how are we going to lose? How are you going to lose a pound a week? How much exercise? How many calories burn is it going to take to lose a pound a week?
500 calories a day for 7 days if you're just doing it with exercise.
That's right. Y'all ever burn 500 calories on a treadmill?
Nope.
That's pretty serious
A
stuff.
long time.
I think when I run, and I'm not currently running, but when I run flat out, I mean hard, for 30 minutes, full on for 30 minutes, 500 calories. So I mean that's an intense workout. I think
On a
that's
treadmill?
That's about 7.5 miles an hour.
That's penny dropping.
So that's- So
So
that's pretty hard. Now you don't have to do it all on treadmill. You could do it in a number of different ways. But if you don't have 2 or 3 hours to spend burning that kind of calories, then you're going to have to get a little bit more aggressive on your intake. I'm amazed when I watch like The Biggest Loser. Let's just take somebody, for example, that was 500 pounds. Their basal metabolic rate is going to be 5,000.
Damn.
Now you know they're not going to be doing anything at that kind of weight, so that's probably about what they're consuming. So 5,000 calories a day. They're going to drop those guys in a serious way, right? I mean, they got medical supervision, all that kind of stuff. But generally, the rule is you don't want to drop below 1,500 calories if you're a male, period. So even if you drop somebody from 5,000 calories to 1,500 calories,
Pound a day.
that's a pound a day.
That's hard to do.
And you know, but those guys get up on those scales after a week, and they post numbers like 14 pounds lost.
in a week.
Now, I used to make fun of Biggest Loser because I thought, you know what? They say that they exercise. They make it look like that's all they do is exercise. But in reality, we know that most of that's coming off as a result of diet. Well, if the most they can do is a pound a week, there must be some pretty serious exercise going on. Because somebody loses 14 pounds, and that's what, sometimes you see that, don't you?
Yep.
They lose 14 pounds in a week. That means they've been working out for 3 or 4 or 5 hours a
They
day.
drink a lot of water.
That's crazy. So I'm not, and I don't make fun of that stuff anymore. I mean, for them, it's not the 70-30 rule. It's like
Yeah.
50-50
Yeah,
to lose
that's
that
true.
kind of weight. So I think that
Well,
this is
Their metabolism ought to be speeding up too, because when they start exercising, their body's kind of in shock because it
Yeah.
hasn't been burning anything, and so it may burn faster too for
Right.
them once they start moving. It kicks in.
Well, let me ask you this: what would be the concerns nutritionally for somebody like that? They've got plenty of stored energy, right?
Yeah.
What,
But they're
what-
not getting all the nutrients.
That's
They're
right.
not eating good
Protein's
stuff.
a big one.
Yeah.
Right.
They got to make sure that they're getting protein.
Fruit and vegetables and.
And then-
some carbs
Yeah, you're gonna have to have
for the
some
energy to
good
do the
complex
exercise.
carbs.
Mhm.
Well,
That's right.
somebody doing that kind of drastic weight loss, if they weren't under medical supervision, that could kill somebody.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Oh,
that's not
Mhm.
safe, and that's
I'm amazed they get as intense as they do on there. You know,
Well,
that their heart just doesn't blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
exactly.
knows my daughter had that bypass surgery and lost 140 pounds. And she was, when she first had the surgery, she was losing a pound a day.
I wonder what the calorie consumption, I should have looked that up for
Oh.
post-op gastric bypass, what the calorie consumption is per day.
I don't know, but she doesn't eat very much.
Yeah, it's, because their portions are so small.
And somebody in that situation has to eat healthy from that point on.
That's
because
right.
You're eating so little that it would be dangerous to.
And she also has to take serious vitamins.
So let's just say, I think 500 calories is pretty aggressive
I do too.
Yeah.
per day, you know.
Yeah.
So 500 calories, so we know we're going to be able to shed a pound a week, right? If we can drop her 500 calories a day. Well, so how many pounds are we going to lose from diet?
60.
8.
8.
Oh,
8
8
pounds.
weeks.
8 pounds in that
yeah.
week. Now, if we got more aggressive, we could do more. But 500 calories is pretty aggressive. So 8 pounds. So if we've not even met half of our goal through diet, could we expect to meet the other half through exercise in a normal case?
70-30?
Not according to the
No,
70-30
no.
rule. And, you know, there's some people even go 60-40, but the take-home message is, you know, if diet is going to be the biggest bang for your buck, let's say we do. Oh, okay, this girl, she decides to go work out with Tricia at the Body Combat class. All right, and Tricia has guaranteed her she can burn 500 calories
She'll
each session.
kill her.
Okay, that's 1,500 calories.
She's 38, remember that. She can do it.
That's right. That's true.
She started about 6 months earlier.
Yeah,
She can do it though at 38.
Yeah.
I just need to call in sick every
Procrastinate.
year.
I took it once.
So what the total? What we're up to 3,500 because she's going to reduce her caloric intake by 500 a day. We're going to add 1,500 to that. So now we're at what?
5,000.
5,000. And then she's assured Tricia that on the days that she's not doing the Body Combat class, she is going to walk at
Do
least
cardio.
3 other
Do
days
some cardio.
and do some cardio and burn another 200
Mhm.
calories. So that's 600.
5,600.
So we're at 5,600. 3,500 will go into 5,600. 1.1 and some change. 1.7 pounds. So we got 1.7 pounds a week, and that's a pretty intense,
That's an intense workout.
right?
It is.
That's a
Hopefully
pretty
she's
intense work. You're
established
doing
that.
something 6 days a week, and you dropped your calories 500 pounds. 500
Yeah.
calories.
Yeah, where she finds time to
Yeah,
cram all this in.
Yeah, we
2
said
weeks,
she's
I'm
a
not
mother of
sure.
3.
I hope she's
too,
got
right?
a good husband that's
She
taking
gets
care of
one of
those
those
kids.
That's
strollers
right.
that, you know,
This
we're
ain't a
good
single mama,
grandmother.
is it?
Mm-mm.
I think single mother have a hard time doing this.
Yeah.
So 1.7 pounds a week, that equates to roughly about 13 and some change.
I'm 38.
So is that
Another
realistic?
2.
It's
Is
pretty-
it possible?
it's
Yeah.
possible.
Is it
And I wish I
realistic?
weighed
Probably.
160 pounds.
Probably
That's where we knew this wasn't about me. Yeah.
Well, the 2 kids. That was a
Yeah,
dead
2 kids.
giveaway.
But you can see now how you can kind of apply this stuff. You gotta create your exchange has to equal 3,500 for the loss of a pound, and that's generally what when you go to see a personal trainer and your interest is in weight loss. That's supposed to be what they do. They scratch their head and say, okay, then we're going to have to reduce the caloric intake. We're going to have to beef up the expenditure, and what's the exchange going to be? So that's how you figure out how much weight you want to lose in a certain time frame. So hopefully you're not in a situation where you only got 8 weeks before your 20-year reunion or your 30-year reunion.
Or your 40-year
Okay.
old.
You think 20 years to put it on and 8 weeks to take it off.